Hey everybody, CJ Bachman here for another episode of the One SEO podcast. Today I'm joined again by BJ Berge. BJ, welcome.
Thank you.
We're still going to talk about Google, but we're going to talk about LSAs today because there was an update. So before we get started, tell us about that update. What is it? Who does it affect? Help me out here.
So Google actually has two hefty updates here. One is surrounding Google Maps, specifically in iOS devices.
Okay.
In this update, you can actually have your LSAs appear on Google Maps for iOS. So, without the statistics on hand, we'll say that half the industry is iOS, if not more, right? It's creating new opportunity for your ads to get in front of end users. So we'll talk a little bit about that. On the other side of the fence, at the turn of July, Google is now moving to auto-crediting disputed leads. So what that means is that money goes right back into your account, that you can just utilize it in your ad campaigns, your LSA campaigns, and put that money to work again. Now, there are some stipulations around it, but the fact of the matter is they're automating it so that it can go back to work for you much quicker.
Okay. How painful was it for you to admit that there's more iOS users than not?
Well, listen, we all make mistakes, and if everybody's perfect, we perhaps wouldn't even be in business.
All right, back to our topic at hand. So what are the pros and cons of actually bundling maps and search ads together?
Yeah, so I've been able to see it both ways, right? There are people going, this is just another cash grab from Google who can put us in another spot, charge me money, and go. But if you're in an industry that's being affected by LSAs not getting enough coverage, or it's so saturated that you're not getting enough attention, this is new opportunity. The best way I've looked at it is, hey, listen, everybody can advertise anything as long as it's genuine and they can fulfill it. With that being said, you're getting a piece of the pie. This is another piece of the pie that you have an opportunity for. The key thing to know here is that your LSA ads actually automatically turn over and have a checkbox in their settings that allow them to run on iOS maps. I don't have a valid reason as why you wouldn't want it, because that's business. But let's say, hey, it's ripping through it and you're getting all this business. Well, that's a good problem to have, and you're going to solve it anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of cash grab, how does this change? How does it affect advertisers' budgets?
So it is yet to be seen. It is very new. We see that, hey, it's going to go to work for them, but until you start to get the metrics in and understand how your geolocation actually is affected by it, it is yet to be put in a position where you can make a move on it. So let's say this goes on for 90 days, and you see that, hey, you're ripping through your traditional normal monthly LSA budget in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. Now you have some decisions to make. Do I want to keep cranking this up? Because Google will spend the money, but it'll also get the leads in return. And then consequently, is it not spending enough? Should I be focusing on something else? Is it an opportunity to refine what I'm doing in my LSA campaigns?
Right. So part of this update is actually being able to automatically create ads. With that, is creating these ads automatically going to affect the effectiveness of these ads?
In theory, it shouldn't, because it is tying it to a map and a location and where you sit in that geography, right? So that auto curation, that AI stuff, it shouldn't really sell you in a different light than you already sell yourself and how you pitch yourself to prospects regarding the categories that you fall into.
And again, because the AI is using your existing information,
Correct.
right? Your existing data. So as long as that data is fully optimized, that data is up to date, then the automation creating an ad for you should only enhance your campaign, because Google knows itself what it needs to be put in front of people to convert. So I don't see any issues there. But how will the user experience change? Because I do see that being different, right? You're obviously going to start seeing, LSAs pop up in the map. So how is that going to change for the end user?
Yeah, so as a very consumer-based, world, and service providers included, the way that we get put in front of businesses has been rapidly changing over the years. And some of it's just been things that we shrug off. We don't acknowledge it. You can turn on Waze on your phone, and it's going to show you where a McDonald's is. It's going to show you where a T-Mobile is, right? You didn't ask, but it's showing you. So in this scenario, you have Google Maps pre-installed on iOS devices. Depending on how your device is set up, which out of the box, it's going to take over a search locally and take you over to Maps. It's going to bring back that relevant information. Now, the other piece here that you need to know about is it does take in consideration user information. So now on a mobile device, there is much more user information than there is just on desktop alone, right? So now these searches are going to be much more specific. So we've yet to see the impacts of this, But just imagine, hey, if you frequent A, B, and C, and this next person frequents A, B, and C, then this service provider might be a better fit for you because you match these things. So again, the data coming and how we how we interpret it and stuff is what we're looking forward to. But we have to see it, and we're looking at like 90 days out.
All right. And I know you don't have the answer to this yet, but you have a theory, and you have a theory for everything. So how does this integration stand to affect local advertising as a whole? Kind of what is your theory? What are some of the big changes that you plan to see?
Yeah, so with the booming of AI, machine learning, new opportunity for ads, a lot of what we're doing is moving towards that search generative experience, or AIO, which is artificial intelligence optimization. The game is going to change very rapidly. The joke I like to tell is like, a year and a half ago, we were all watching a machine algorithm learning video of Will Smith eating spaghetti, and it was horrible. You blink, and now things are being executed as if they're real life or Pixar.
Yep.
So that's only going to kind of rapidly continue to grow, and it's going to get in the fingertips of the right people, and people with these or tools and platforms in front of them are going to be able to excel much more. With that being said, nobody does anything out of the kindness of their heart. Like, let's just call it what it is. Every big company, the ones that are even allowing you to advertise Google, is to profit, is to grow the business. As these new areas of interest come about, they will find ways to monetize and add advertisements to it. So do expect more advertising in that AIO landscape.
Yeah, and I think the biggest tip, and this is something that we talk to our clients right now, especially when it comes to content and their concern over generative AI, is just to be genuine. Make sure you have the right information. Make sure your website is optimized, that it speaks to who you are and what you do. Make sure you're adding in that extra value information. Why does the business exist? And then keep semantics in mind, right? Because as the bots are learning your site, they're going to need to understand that. And that changes from, based on, I think about the word soda and the word pop. Depending on what area you're in the country, some people call it soda and some people call it pop. But if your advertising isn't hitting on that, then you're missing the boat. And so that's the same thing we need to think about as this technology is creating things for us. Okay, let's just make sure they have the right information, the right knowledge about us, so they can recreate us artificially in the right way.
Yep, it's all going to be about humanizing what we do. And keeping that human touch and not losing touch with it.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for joining me, BJ. And guys out there, we will make sure you have access to this information. We're constantly putting blogs out on our website, www.oneseo.com. And you can always join us here for another episode of the One SEO podcast.